Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE Monday Night Raw review from August 1st, 2016, last night's Monday Night Raw. My overall opinion about the show is simply put, the show is okay. There's a nice little build going into SummerSlam, and number one thing that I liked about it was simply put, is the fact that they had a little bit here and there. There was boring moments, but there was moments necessary to make the show entertaining and build up and have meaning towards SummerSlam's matches. For example, we start off with Sasha Banks announcing that she will be going up against Charlotte one-on-one at SummerSlam in a one-on-one match. My overall opinion, like I said before, this match should be held inside a 15-foot high steel cage. But they're not doing that, unfortunately. And that's all there is to it. Jericho also came out. God almighty, Jericho is fucking annoying as he's getting older in age. He should just shut the hell up. Please do that. Enzo Amore, funny as can be. Great mic skills. Unbelievable character he's got going on. And he's just funny as hell. And everybody in the audience likes him, from kids to adults. Overall. So, very good shit by Enzo Amore. I really like his work on the mic. He reminds me of Road Dogg, only 10 times better than Road Dogg was. The next thing that happened, we had a gender, you know what I mean, women versus women, men versus men, an intergender match, tag team match. So it was actually a pretty entertaining match. I liked it overall. Sasha Banks actually ends up losing to Charlotte with the natural selection, and that's how the match ends. So we move on to the next thing. Give me 1 second. Just happen to get on some fucking website that gives me the whole thing individually for whatever dumb reason, instead of just one big giant page. Alright, so next deal that happens is we have Braun Strowman versus Evan Anderhold. This was fucking retarded. One of the things I do remember is Brian Saxon asked him why he is actually going up against Braun Strowman. He said he's getting paid $1,000 and he's getting paid $5,000 to actually beat him. Now, here's my overall opinion. I think this is complete, utter retardedness. Why the fuck would you actually go ahead and compete up against Braun Strowman for $1,000? That is utterly retarded. You could find a lot of other things to do for $1,000. And friggin' Brian Saxon said something that was very hilarious and very funny, and that's pretty much said he had a better chance of winning $1,000 by playing Powerball 4, which is very true. And he ended up losing in less than a minute, or 2 minutes, basically. It's also later on announced that Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley give Mark Henry an opportunity for the United States Championship against Rusev. So, yeah. So, I mean, pretty much like I'm saying here, the flow of the show is pretty good. It felt very similar to last week's show. The only difference is that the matches were a lot more entertaining. But each and every little segment that helped build a storyline leading into the SummerSlam pay-per-view was very helpful for the show, and it made it very entertaining and worth watching. It got your attention. It made you want to focus on those certain segments. The third match, the Shining Stars versus Golden Truth, was over a fucking Pokemon Go thing. Primo and his other partner, I don't really give a fuck. The Shining Stars win this match. Who gives a shit? Pointless garbage. Not really going to talk all that much about that. So Michael Cole, he gets in the ring, talks to Finn Balor, says how he felt about the whole idea about winning this number one contenders match and finally getting an opportunity at the big show for the world championship called the Universal Championship, for God's sakes. Oh, help us all. What the fuck are they calling the Universal titles beyond me? I think it's utterly ridiculous, but whatever. Finn Balor starts doing his shtick, talking about what he's all about, giving people who aren't too familiar with him an insight on what he is and who he is. From that point on, Rollins comes out. He says his deal, and Rollins, my God, was fantastic on the mic last night. I think he was outstanding. So was Finn Balor, even with the accent situation going on for him because of where he's from. I think they were both very entertaining. Seth Rollins gave very good, detailed facts about both of their careers. Finn Balor, wherever he went, was a success, but Seth Rollins was always a step ahead of him. He was a first NXT guy, first NXT champion, and Finn Balor was the first longest NXT champion of all time. So, I mean, with all that being said, Rollins had great points. Finn Balor had great points. With every person he's ever faced that said they're the man, he's ended up beating them. I don't know if that's entirely true. I have never followed his career, except for when he was in NXT and now in WWE's main roster. But he is an outstanding performer, a well-liked guy, just like Seth Rollins. Even though Seth Rollins plays a bad guy, he is a very liked character on the WWE programming, regardless of all that. So that was pretty much my whole spiel on it. It gave a lot of great detail of what this whole thing is leading up to. They both did a great job help promoting the match and making the Universal Championship match very important to everyone's eyes. Rusev and Mark Henry was a decent match. It wasn't that bad. It just was kind of slow. And typical bullshit. Rusev wins with the accolade and beat him by submission. I really don't understand why they keep putting Mark Henry, though, in these matches at all. He doesn't really win anymore. It's just utter ridiculousness for him to even be on television, unless you're going to plan to make fucking Mark Henry do something important. I mean, this is just utterly retarded. From there, we had Darren Young and Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund was with him as his manager versus Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil is playing a heel again. They gotta make up their fucking minds with this dude. I like him as a heel. I don't mind him as a face. But man, stick with one of the two. This is just utterly ridiculous. So, I mean, he cheats. Titus O'Neil picks up the victory with grabbing the tights of Darren Young. And backstage, also, Titus O'Neil insults Bob Backlund in the process because Bob Backlund was saying all kinds of things like, you shouldn't be cheating, you should be fair to your opponent and win cleanly, yada, yada, yada. And he said, I don't care, old man. I'll knock you to hell out. I'll knock you on your ass. I don't give a rat's ass. And so forth. So it ended up being a disrespectful slap in Bob Backlund's face. Darren Young got on Titus O'Neil's case for acting that way. And he went rampant on Titus O'Neil. And Bob Backlund had to restrain him and keep him away from Titus O'Neil. And basically Titus O'Neil walked away and shrugged it off. Cesaro and Sheamus backstage ended up being placed in a match with a future opportunity for the Universe Championship title #1 contender shot on the line for a future title shot. I'm believing that Cesaro or Sheamus during this point, before I give away the results, I don't want to do that. If anyone has watched it, if they have, okay, well, you know what's going to happen. Should get this at Clash of Champions for the September pay-per-view for Raw. So that's what I believe should happen. And give Cesaro a break, Cesaro or Sheamus a break with this. Sami Zayn was backstage. He's talking about his match with Seth Rollins, or asked Zayn about his match with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins actually is competing in a match later on during the show, which was absolutely fantastic. Loved the match, thought it was great, and was very entertaining and well put together by both men. New Day versus the Club. That was the next match. If the New Day lost to the Club, this would definitely give a strong chance of the Club getting a shot for the tag team titles at SummerSlam. New Day actually do pick up the victory and walk away as the winners of this match. Unfortunately, after the match was over, they happen to end up getting Big E gets his nuts nailed into the steel post, ring post, and all the other members of New Day get their asses whipped. But before the match even started, New Day was very entertaining as usual. As the last couple of months since they started this video campaign gimmick, I have absolutely enjoyed them. I think they're funny as hell, and I think it's awesome they turned that into a serial and turned it into something real. The downside is you can only get it at FYE, which is slowly but surely turning into a nothing company, and can't really find FYE very much around in our area, so you have to pre-order it or buy it online off of FYE. Kind of stupid, in my opinion, but whatever. Doesn't really make a difference. Alright, next match, Cesaro and Sheamus. Outstanding performance by both men. Cesaro picks up the victory, and I am so happy about this situation because, and I loved how they countered each other at the end. Cesaro hit the neutralizer and picked up the victory to earn his shot at a future Universal Championship match against somebody, whoever that may be. So that was an outstanding match. Really enjoyed that one. Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal segment. They get in. Mick Foley gives them a match where they have to face each other. Heath Slater doesn't believe that Jinder Mahal would turn on his back for a contract with WWE Raw, and he ends up being surprised and gets kicked in the face and loses 1, 2, 3. Jericho and Kevin Owens backstage interview. Basically, Jericho goes on talking about how Enzo Amore may have help with calling Cass and yada yada yada. Kevin Owens says, "I'll have your back." So that's pretty much what I'm assuming. Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens will tag team against Enzo Amore and calling Cass either at SummerSlam or the next Monday Night Raw episode next week. So with all that being said, I have no fucking clue. But I mean, Jericho really needs to just shut the fuck up. He can't talk worth a crap. I am not entertained by his stick anymore. I think his whole thing is absolute garbage. So the last two things that I have to talk about, and then I'll be able to end this review. Simply put, Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn was outstanding. Both men performed very well. I can imagine them having having a main event match on a pay-per-view at some point, because this was fucking awesome match. Well put together by both men. Both of them beat the shit out of each other. And at the end of the day, Seth Rollins picks up the victory with the pedigree and gets the 1, 2, 3. So that's really all that needs to be said about that match. And then the biggest surprise, quite honestly, was actually the most surprising, Brock Lesnar's segment. Paul Heyman puts on an awesome promo stick, and I think that everything, I love how Paul Heyman does not sound scripted. He sounds natural, he sounds normal, he sounds like he's just shooting his mouth off and saying his thing and help promoting Brock Lesnar to be in the big shot that he's posted on TV to be. So, great job by Paul Heyman. And then the surprising ending of the show, Randy Orton fucking comes out of nowhere. I did not even think this was going to happen, like cross interaction between Raw and SmackDown. But fucking Randy Orton invades Raw, hits the RKO out of nowhere. Nobody even knew what the fuck was going on until he actually was in the ring. And then hits the RKO and runs up the freaking, goes into the audience and just does his pose deal. And that's the end of the show, and Brock Lesnar's going, what the fuck, are you serious? And he was pissed, and it was a really cool ending how they did it. I love that move, the RKO. I think it's an outstanding move. It's very surprising at times. You can make it very, like it said, out of nowhere. And it can be all at random, and it's been done on countless times. Like, Randy Orton's had matches where they seem pretty dull and boring at one point, and then with that RKO move, it just sparks the match up just a bit more, and it leaves you going, holy shit. But yeah, I love that move. I think that Randy Orton looked pretty good last night. I think what's probably going to happen is Brock Lesnar's going to invade SmackDown, and we're going to see Brock do his thing to Randy Orton. That would probably make more sense in my opinion. But it all depends on what SmackDown turns out to be, because Raw, in my opinion, his Raw last week beat SmackDown's ass. Raw this week, SmackDown might have a chance if they improve. It all depends. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching the review on this. I am going to be doing SmackDown review with Matthew tonight, so I look forward to doing that with him, and I'll see you guys later in a couple of hours. Alright? Catch you later. Bye.